Haarlem. Most people know Haarlem as the home to the Apollo Theater and the jazz mecca of the 1920s. Yeah, that's Haarlem, all right. But did you know the name Haarlem comes from Haarlem in the Netherlands? I'm Veronica Lewis, and today on Let's Go Dutch, we're revisiting Haarlem.
I'm gonna travel the world. I'm gonna go where the Dutch have been, and I'm gonna share it with you, my friends. Let's go Dutch. Let's go Dutch. Let's go Dutch.
We'll take a closer look at the historical Stadhuis and the imposing Amsterdamse Poort. We'll weigh in on the Waag along the Sparna, and we'll visit 3 museums that Haarlem has to offer. So put on your clogs and let's go Dutch. Haarlem lies to the southeast of Amsterdam in the Noord-Holland provincie. From Amsterdam, it's just a 15-minute train ride. The Markt is the center of most Dutch towns. They were the site of the main market square in the Middle Ages. Typically, the Stadhuis can be found on the Markt. Sure enough, Haarlem Stadhuis is right there. Willem the Eric, step out from behind the camera. Tell us all about the Stadhuis alstublieft.
Ja hoor, but perhaps a word of the day is in order.
Our woord vandaag is stadsrechten. It means city rights. It's also known as a city charter.
In the Middle Ages, a town or city only became official after they received the city charter. Haarlem received its stadsrechten in 1245 from Count Willem II. That was his hunting lodge. After Willem's death in 1256, his inheritance passed to his son, Floris V. By the way, it was Floris who granted Amsterdam its stadsrechten in 1275. After a fire in 1351 tore through the lodge, Floris moved south to Den Haag, where his father had built another hunting lodge. He gave the remains to the city to build a stadhuis. Now this section here was added in 1604. The style is Dutch Renaissance. It was designed by Lieven de Key. Like Hendrik de Keyser in Amsterdam, Lieven de Key is the Golden Age architect of Haarlem. He was born in Ghent in 1560, and in 1592 the Haarlem Council invited him to be the city architect.
Want to have a peek inside? Although not open for public tours, the Stadhuis is still in use for official events, weddings, and the mayor has his office there. The main hall, which was once a banqueting hall, is a true step back into the 14th century. The view from up here is great. You can take in the whole Markt, like Count Willem looking out on his domain. Willem, what are we seeing here?
On the right, dominating the Markt, is the Grote Kerk.
That means big church.
As you could see, it lives up to its name.
Aha! But it's got another name. Niet waar?
Jazeker, de Sint-Bavokerk.
It's very common in the northern Calvinist Protestant part of the country for churches to have two names, the original Catholic name and the generic Protestant name.
The big red step gable was the Vlees Hall and was the meat market. The little gable next to it was the fish market.
No doubt, meat was more popular than fish, judging by the size of the buildings.
Well, if they were anything like me, then you're right.
The Netherlands is a meat and potato country for sure. You're going to try the herring, right?
Hey, hoor. I have a contract.
Understood. Well, then tell them about the Vlees Hall, since it does have a deep connection to our hometown, New Amsterdam.
The ox head signifies that this was the Vlees Hall. Vlees is Dutch for meat. Lieven de Kay designed the Vlees Hall in 1602. Now, here's a little tidbit about the Vlees Hall. There's a Dutch Reformed church in New York City at 77th Street and West End Avenue that's modeled after the Vlees Hall.
Willem, show them.
Okay, we're here at 77th and West End Avenue in the town once known as New Amsterdam. Now, take a look at the door with its mix of stone and bricks. See how the door is the same design? And notice the steps with pinnacles, and even the little doodads on the side of the steps. Yeah, they're the same.
Willem, show them the plaque inside.
The King of the Netherlands, Koning Willem-Alexander, visited this church. He and his family sat right here. No, really, there's a plaque commemorating it. Now, if that isn't cool enough, the king's mother, Queen Beatrix, also visited this church. That's pretty impressive. However, her mother, Queen Juliana, makes it 3 generations of Dutch royalty who have been here.
While you're there, show them the millstones.
But wait, there's more. These millstones come from a grist mill that was grinding grain back in 1626. In the area of Manhattan that was New Amsterdam, there were several mills helping build the colony. The Dutch are, after all, known for windmills. One of those millers was Abraham Peterson. And get this, Abe the Miller was originally from Haarlem.
Hello. We're now going to head around the corner to the Corrie ten Boom house. It's fair to say everyone knows the story of Anne Frank and the secret annex. Haarlem, too, hides a secret hiding spot where Jews and Dutch resistance hid from the Nazis. This little corner house has been in the ten Boom family for generations. In 1837, Willem ten Boom opened a watch shop here. A plaque on the wall tells the story of the hiding place. In the window here in the alley, a triangular sign meant it was safe. The Nazis later used this tactic as a decoy.
Willem was a member of the Dutch Reformed Church and held weekly prayer meetings. The first son born to Willem's second wife was Casper, born in 1859. His daughter Corrie was born in 1892. In 1921, she went to work in the watch shop and was even the first licensed female watchmaker. A year after Germany invaded Holland, Corrie, along with her older sister and father, became involved in the Dutch underground. At first, they helped Jews find safe houses, but in 1943, they started hiding them in their own house. Just like the Frank family, the Ten Boom family was betrayed and arrested. Corrie's brother, sister, and father, Casper, died in the concentration camps. Corrie was discharged and made her way back to the home in Haarlem. She spent the next 32 years traveling the world telling her story. When you enter Corrie's room, there is a gaping hole in the wall, revealing the secret hiding space. You entered through the bottom of the closet. The space was small and dark, with only the ability to stand upright. Corrie detailed her story in a book called The Hiding Place, and just like the diary of Anne Frank, it was turned into a movie. The main river that flows through Haarlem is the Spaarne. It's just a short walk from the Grote Markt, and you'll find spectacular views. Along the Spaarne, you'll find the Waag, the Way House. It was a city charter that allowed a town to build a way house and collect tolls and taxes. The Haarlem Waag greatly resembles that in Hoorn. And just like Hoorn, as well as in other cities, the Waag now houses a restaurant. It's a delicious way to admire the inside of this historical building. And speaking of this historic building, it was designed by none other than Lieven de Kay. He built this Waag in 1595. On the Spaarne side is a frieze with a Haarlem stadswapen, but on the street side is a frieze with a sword holding lion inside a fence. While it now represents the territory of Holland, this is known as the Dutch Garden. It was an order founded by Count Willem VI.
If I can just weigh in for a second. We mentioned about Hendrik de Keyser, the man who left his mark all over Golden Age Amsterdam. Well, he built the Waag in Hoorn. I think it's safe to say that Hendrik and Lieven were cut from the same cloth. The Spaarne is also where we find the former home of Pieter Taylor van der Goost. Pieter was a silk merchant born in Haarlem in 1702. As a philanthropist, he was a patron of the arts and science and was also charitable to the poor and orphans. So let's go check out the Taylor's Museum.
Before you step inside, there is much to be appreciated in the building itself. This neoclassical building with its columns and elaborate statue capping the facade is befitting a monumental museum. The first room is dedicated to archaeology with a plethora of fossils and treasures, a prehistoric discovery. The next room is filled with all kinds of scientific instruments invented by pioneers like Christian Huygens and others. The next part of the house is designed in an oval shape. The first room is filled with ancient tools of the scientific community. Peter also amassed quite a collection of paintings, and you'll find them in the next two rooms. There are some wonderful Dutch genre paintings. There is even a painting by Hendrik Mesdag, who was known for his seascape paintings. The Taylor's Museum holds the distinction of being the oldest public museum in the Netherlands.
This part of the Noorgracht has some magnificent mansions. No doubt they were built by some of the wealthiest merchants and city officials. Want to have a look at one of them? Let's see. This one.
The original house was built by Abraham Barnard around 1724. Fast forward to 1804, and Willem Philip Barnard had this new house built. The interior of the house, which is said to be the first in the Netherlands, is in what is called French Empire style. It was all the rage in the 1800s. The Barnard family grew wealthy in the textile business, but Willem Philip ascended to Dutch nobility. You'll see that nobility in all its glory in the Golden Salon. This room, with its purple upholstery and gilded woodwork, was used to entertain guests in style. After Willem's death in 1851, the house changed hands several times, and then many companies played temporary occupant. In 2021, the Hendrik de Keyser Foundation took possession and restored the house. Named after the famous Golden Age architect, the foundation acquires and restores national monuments. You can see their little blue and white plaque on the facade. Like Amsterdam, you're never more than a stone's throw from a colorful gable stone. Here's some you'll find around Haarlem.
Looky here, a trio of gables sporting a whole bunch of stadswapens and gable stones. We'll just park ourselves here for a bit. This is from the early 1600s. It's very interesting, with the step gable and then two with derby tops. First, let's identify the stadswapens. That's city coat of arms. The first one belongs to Haarlem. The three St. Andrew's crosses are Amsterdam's stadswapen. The two keys are from Leiden. And the stork with the worm in its mouth is from Den Haag. Serious gable stones, too. And there's all those heads staring down on us. So here's the story of this house. It's called the Schade House and was owned by Johann Schade. He was a brewer, a judge, and an alderman. He was burgemeester starting in 1632, a captain of the Cloveniers in 1624, and he was painted by Frans Hals. Not too shabby. That bust there is Johann. The bust in the middle is his wife, Volkje. Oh, did I mention Lehman Decay designed these houses? Nay? Yeah, Decay.
I do believe we found another leaving decay. Well, this looks simply like a single Renaissance gable. This whole section was the Provenier's house.
In 1707, it was a house for elderly men. But in 1682, Leven Decay renovated part for the St. Joris Guild, the Haarlem militia. After the Reformation, they became known as the Haarlem Schooterij. Scooter means shooter. The gable is in typical Leven Decay Renaissance style.
Here's another Leven Decay work. This entrance gate once led to the St. Barbara Housetas, a hospital founded in 1435. Leven built this entrance gate in 1604. The hospital functions later moved to the St. Elizabeth Housetas, and this became a Hofsche. It was torn down in 1845, leaving Leven's gate behind.
Most visitors to Haarlem have the Frans Hals Museum on their bucket list. Haarlem is, after all, the town of Frans Hals, just as Delft is the town of Vermeer. The museum can be found a short walk from the Grote Markt, and what a walk it is. This street, Grote Gele Glant, will really take you back to the 17th century. Lined with short step gables, it looks like a street that Vermeer painted in his day. Or perhaps another painter, such as Gerrit Berggeter. He made several paintings of Haarlem, and you'll find them in the Frans Hals Museum. Frans himself specialized in portraits and large Civic Guard group portraits. Berggeter painted his hometown of Haarlem, and looking at his paintings allows you to see Haarlem as it was, but also what remains the same. Much remains from the time Berggeter painted these streets. Some are more hidden than others. Like here, for instance, this large building is a public library. You'll notice muskets on the shield above the port. Not something typical of a library. The gable port is by none other than Leven Decay. He built this in 1612 for the Haarlem Cloveniers. They were the rifle militia, hence the muskets above the gate. Their practice range was behind the library building.
Sometimes you just have to stop and admire the craftsmanship of yore. Look at this Jtravel. That means old step gable, but I said it in Dutch to be fancy. Well, this whole house tickles my fancy. Willem, tell him why it tickles my fancy, alstublieft.
I thought I'd tickle her fancy. Perhaps what she meant to say was, this old gable tickles my fancy. Yeah, that's it. Well, let's start with the wood carvings in the window frames. Pretty fancy. And you'll notice the little stained glass in the windows there. You'll notice the gable stones too. I'm thinking that possibly there was a pharmacy here, judging from what looks like a mortar and pestle. Or maybe, since this was a pack house, a warehouse, maybe this was a warehouse for herbs brought back from the Far East to make in medicines. And the wall anchors are amongst the most elaborate, or shall I say, fanciest I've ever seen. See? I told you I'd tickle her fancy.
Before we head home, we have to go to Amsterdam first. What better way to get there than through the Amsterdamse Poort? This last remaining gate dates back to 1355 and was part of the defensive wall encasing the city.
As the name suggests, the poort points east towards Amsterdam. Haarlem had 12 gates into the city. The Amsterdamse Poort stands as a proud reminder of the past.
While we're here at this imposing gate, there's a story that needs to be told. Billy Eric, you're good at extracting stories from these old buildings. It's true. You might say he's a step gable whisperer.
Billy Eric here, step gable whisperer. The Amsterdamse Poort whispered to me, "K now." In 1526, Simon Hasselaar and his wife had a daughter. They named her K-Now. K-Now had 4 kids of her own. After her husband died, she took over his business as a wood merchant and shipbuilder. In 1573, Haarlem was under siege by the Spanish. Legend has it, K-Now led an army of women who helped defend the city and rebuild the damaged fortifications. This was during the 80 Years' War, which ended in 1648 with the Dutch provinces having won independence from Spain. Although the Spanish succeeded in taking Haarlem, it was here at the Amsterdamse Poort where K-Now and the women held off the Spanish.
Haarlem is a city where the golden age never ended. Although so close to Amsterdam, Haarlem feels like you're in a different time period. Well, that's all the time we have. I'm Veronica Lewis. Join us again next time on Let's Go Dutch as we explore more of Nederland and beyond. Tot ziens!